Erev Tov Chavrim, I'm Steve Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Got several things going on this evening, guys. And of course, earlier this afternoon, we were watching on our alarm on the phone there several rockets. In fact, I think about 14 rockets in all from Gaza landing in the neighboring areas around Israel, around the Gaza Strip there. Israel, though, has already began a retaliation for those rockets. And of course, Israel, they don't use little small rockets. They use some heavy-duty firepower. With cover of night terrorizing a civilian population, it says here on Fasal, population when they are most vulnerable, and it is a very devastating blowback that Israel is putting out against the Hamas factions that are being blamed for those rockets coming into Israel. We'll be following up on the story tomorrow after we see what happens as a result of this, and just to see where this is going to go. There's reports here Indonesian hospital in northern Gaza Strip was struck as well. And of course, we already are pretty much aware that the Israeli government has been very much prepared for doing a land invasion as well. They've brought a lot of tanks down near the Gaza border, and so we'll just have to wait to see what actually happens next. In other news as well, the Iranian parliament speaker believes that Israel cannot attack the Russian S-300s in Syria. That's their claim. I don't agree with that, but anyway, Ali Larijani, the Iranian parliament speaker, stated, "I don't think that the Israelis are able to take a serious step, and I believe that Russia has the right to deploy the S-300 air defense system in Syria and to protect its interests, especially after the Israeli attack on the Russian aircraft. This is the Russia's lawful right," Larijani said in an interview commenting on the Israeli official claims that the S-300 could be defeated by Israel's stealth fighters and possibly destroyed on the ground. Well, as long as Russia is only going to allow the Syrian government to have the missiles that can only go 75 kilometers, sure, the stealth fighter can defeat it, because the stealth fighters' missiles themselves can go about 100 miles, so they could actually stay out of range of the S-300. Now, if Russia were to give the Syrian government the missiles that will go 150 kilometers, then there would be a little bit tougher situation to outfox this thing. And from what reports we've been hearing, that the Israelis have been working in Ukraine now, trying to see about outmaneuvering the S-300. So there are plans, preparations to see if the system can be beat. They did it back during the time with Greece. Israel made some updates for the F-35. Those were deployed on the F-35 for Israel's per their instructions there, but still they want to make sure that the risks are minimized if they're going to try to take it out. I do stand, though, with Syria's right to defend themselves, not just Russia's right to defend themselves. Syria should have a right to be able to defend itself. Syria has not outright attacked Israel in all these incursions, and of course the Syrian military has also paid a heavy price for Israel's determination to destroy Iranian targets inside the country there. Also being said here that the Syria is determined to restore Idlib and will not allow it to become a new case for terrorists. The Syrian Arab Republic said there at the United Nations there. And it is once again, as at the U.S. Security Council, the situation there in Idlib is intensifying. There have been fighting again on both sides there. The peace agreement between Russia and Turkey is not holding as well as people had thought, and we'll be looking into that this weekend as well, going into a deeper look at what's happening there. The Iranian Navy stalks the U.S. warships in the Persian Gulf amid increased tensions. This is something coming out here on October the 27th. A number of Iranian Navy boats swarmed a U.S. warship that was traveling through the Persian Gulf waters on Friday, the Washington Post reported. According to the Washington Post, 2 attack boats belonging to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of Iran came within 300 yards of the USS Essex on Friday, prompting a short standoff between the two parties. Also on the USS Essex was the commander of the U.S. forces in the Middle East, General Joseph Votel. However, it is not clear whether or not the IRGC boats were aware of this. The IRGC boats attack boats would trail the USS Essex for several minutes before backing off the U.S. warship. That's pretty gutsy, if you ask me, to be sitting there challenging a warship that could easily destroy these little boats. They may have some firepower as well, but why intentionally just go out there and antagonize a U.S. warship there? Anyway, there again, there's two sides to every story. Two sides, and I like to try to examine both. Bolton warns Armenia of getting military involved in Syria, but yet Armenia clearly told Bolton that they were only sending humanitarian aid down to Syria, but he still insists not to get involved militarily. I think Bolton doesn't believe that they're going to send humanitarian aid, but rather arms and weapons to the Syrian government instead. So it looks like, once again, threats from the U.S. For anyone that would dare even think about coming to the aid of Syria. That's just really, what do I say? I don't want to say it's gutsy on Bolton's part. I think it's just downright out rude of him to even say that when someone is trying to help someone with aid there, and you just keep threatening them. What a mess, what a mess. At anyway, Jerusalem Post is speaking about the Israeli Air Force striking Hamas naval base near the Gaza city. That's, of course, all these things are happening tonight. There is a lot of fighting going on back and forth. And the bombs that were, or the little rockets that were sent over by Gaza, I think the IDF has reported that 8 out of 12 were shot down by the Iron Dome. Somebody's making money off of the Iron Dome, no doubt. And at the same time, it does put the Israelis on edge, but I can only imagine what the people in the Gaza Strip are going through, because when Israel retaliates, it's nothing compared to these little rockets that are flying in towards Israeli families. These are massive bombs raining down, and of course many little children that will end up falling in harm's way of this. Something's got to be done to bring peace here in this region. And I think if we would truly keep the command of Moses of loving our neighbor as ourselves, maybe we could see a genuine peace begin. But until we begin to do that, we're not going to see a true peace. I'm Steve Benoon with Israeli News Live. Be spending some time with you guys this weekend. Get ready.